Dr. Jazz. Dr.
But
Jazz.
Frank, I'll just jump in. You said you played a gig yesterday, and I saw your schedule for the upcoming months, and
Yeah,
you have
there's a few shows coming
tons
up.
of gigs coming up. Are you
Yeah.
preparing a new album as well, or like is something in
Um,
the?
well, my albums have gotten further and further apart.
That's why.
Um, it's really a question of economics sometimes. I mean, it's not purely art. I mean, if it came to writing music and art, I have tons of ideas that normally I would, spend a lot of time on and get ready to record. And I will do that soon because I'm well overdue for a new album, and I have some very cool music um, waiting to be heard by the world at large. So I will be doing that soon. Um, so I'm happy to report that. But
Yeah,
there's no return on investment these days.
absolutely.
It's kind
Yeah,
of a failed business model. So, but musicians, it's not to say that, the music business is over. There is money there. It's just not getting to musicians, unfortunately, or the creators as much as before. So we have to get out and play. That's why I have a lot of gigs, and
yeah,
I have an online music school, guitar school, which really helps a lot,
yeah,
and whatever else,
yeah,
I I do recordings and sessions for other people, and you
yeah.
know,
It's
I'm
changed.
one of the lucky ones, I think, because I've I managed to get away with it this long.
Yeah, I mean, I think of even the younger musicians. Like I have so many students, and they want to study jazz and play jazz, which is beautiful, and
And so they should.
they should, yeah. But it's so much harder. Like you said, the idea of an album nowadays, it's like a calling card maybe, or even like it's
A
just
business card.
a business
Yeah.
card. Yeah,
True.
it's nice
Well,
to do it, but yeah,
if you're serious about music, you do have to have something. Yeah,
yeah,
you do. It really separates the wannabes from the actual artists who are trying to do something.
yeah,
I'm not worried about AI or anything like that. A lot of people say AI is ruining AI cannot do what I do. At least it can at the moment. Um, so I don't even have the slightest fear at all. AI just reproduces and rehashes what's
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
already there. It right now it's not thinking for itself. It's just a dumb machine. It's still a dumb machine in my mind.
absolutely.
So you
Yeah.
know, let's see it improvise a fusion solo over hard changes. It can do it mathematically, but will it sound good?
That's different. Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Uh,
Since I have you here, I wanted to ask you, you were so young when you started, like in the mid '80s. Like, I listened to Pump It today. To the Jeff Berlin album yesterday.
that was
And
my first recording in LA,
I
first
know, and you're like
album I played
19,
on.
right, or something. And
No, no, I was about 24 or
you
something like
were older. Okay, okay. I
that.
thought you were really young. Okay.
Well, I arrived in America when I was 22.
How did you decide to go to the States? I mean, because in Australia, did people come there? Like, I mean, obviously, like there were so many great fusion players back. You know,
Where? In Australia?
I mean, like no, come in all over the world. But were they coming to Australia? Like, did you see some, like someone like McLaughlin or
Oh,
someone like
yeah.
that? Or?
Oh, you're kidding. I saw Chick Corea live twice. I saw Weather Report in a beautiful
Really?
theater in Canberra, my hometown. Only 1,000 seats.
Oh wow.
Was one of the most spectacular concerts I ever saw. It was Jarko in his prime with Erskine and Wayne Shorter and Zawinul. It was
Okay.
brilliant and jaw dropping. I was in the front row at the same theater for Jean-Luc Ponty, and I kept the ticket stub for years. And when I finally I auditioned for Jean-Luc, and I worked with him before I toured with Chick. I toured
Oh,
with
really? I
Jean
didn't know that.
Ponty.
Wow.
Yeah, not a lot of. It was a short tour. It was only maybe 3 weeks around the U.S. But I love Jean-Luc Ponty's music, and I would have been quite just as happy playing in his group for years. Really, I admire him that much. And I kept the ticket stub. So when I did the audition and got the show, got the gig, I said, "Look at this, Jean-Luc." I said, "One day I'm going to play with you," and I gave it to him, and he was so moved by
Mm.
that. Music is incredibly important to people. It's inspirational for the musicians who want to be musicians. You always look up to those who came before you.
Yeah.
We stand on the shoulders of everyone that came before us. We don't come from a vacuum. So, pardon me, morning. Um, and so, musicians, great musicians, have always inspired me. If I get stuck or I can't, or I'm, bored or something, I'll put on something that I know is absolute genius to me. Some music. It could be Chick Corea, Michael Brecker, it could be Klaus Ogerman CD. It could be anything. It could be a Beatles album, or a Sting album or something. Anything that will just go, ah, yeah, I need to get back to work. It motivates me.
Mm.
But for people who are not musicians, it's equally important, but in a completely different way. It reaches into their brains. Music is the highest art form. I know people will argue that, but it really is,
Mm.
because it goes into your brain in a place that nothing else can reach. Not even visual arts, which was surprising to me.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's vital for everyone, music, and so. I've never liked the music business. That's a whole other.
That's a different story. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a monster in itself. People that start things like Spotify who are making billions, literally billions of dollars off the backs of all artists
Yeah.
and pay. I look at my royalty statements, and sometimes it's like from Spotify, it can go because I have 300 or 400 songs published. The royalty statement. I'm glad it's electronic and not paper anymore. We
Yeah.
have no trees in the world. It's literally 500 pages of each page is probably worth a few pennies,
Yeah.
and some royalty rates are completely zero all the way. And I go, is
That's
that a
insane.
royalty? I mean, is that even a number when you've got hundreds of thousandths of a cent?
Yeah.
I mean, who negotiated this shit? Because I didn't negotiate this for my music. It's an abomination.
It is. Yeah.
It's thievery, and these bastards are living in 100,000 meter square homes in New Zealand. For what? Starting a website just to steal from musicians. It's
Yeah.
pathetic. It
Yeah.
really is. And so, you know, that's the business side of it. There are thieves everywhere. They just steal from the artists, and unfortunately, artists also shoot themselves in the foot. If one group doesn't want to do it, oh, we're not paying for nothing. We're not going to play. Forget that. And another 10 groups will say, yeah, we'll do it. We need the exposure. So
Yeah. Yeah.
even the musicians can't unite on this. Somebody's going to do it for nothing, and that ruins it for everybody. So, that's
Yeah.
the state we're in. So
Yeah.
finding gigs that actually pay enough to cover all expenses is getting harder.
Oh, after COVID, I think it's gotten even harder. I talked with Simon Phillips a while ago, and he said he can hardly get his own group to Europe because it just doesn't, he ends the tour and he's almost on zero. And we're talking, let's say, about Simon Phillips, who's like,
Yeah, I know who Simon is,
so
and
yeah,
I concur.
it's insane, really.
But we still do it
We
because
still do
it's
it, yeah.
important, and somebody's got to hold the torch. Otherwise, there is no torch, and we can't see a way forward.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll keep doing it as long as I can, you know, because it's something I love and something I'm passionate about, and it's something I've dedicated my life to reaching a high standard. My whole existence is based on you know, raising the standard, you know.
Mm,
And you know, the way the music business is, it keeps lowering and lowering the standard. And
absolutely.
I can't buy into that. I'm sorry, you know. It's hard to even find a key change in a pop song these days. It's
Oh,
all the same four chords going around. It's driving me literally insane that people are being fed this shit. You know, because people are not stupid. You know, the
yeah.
general public are not stupid, but it's this crap that's being forced down their throats so many times that you go, okay, that's what it is. That's what pop music is. That's what's great.
Yeah.
And it's such a falsehood. Uh, Not enough people are saying it's crap. It
Yeah.
is crap. They're feeding you shit and you're eating it and loving it, you know, as long as it's got a beat. You know, people say, what do you like? I always ask, what do you like about this song? What is it? You know, it's, oh, I like the beat. Well, the beat, my dear, is a machine. And you press a button and it goes boom, boom, boom. What
Yeah.
beat do you want? That's the least interesting or the easiest thing to reproduce is the beat.
Yeah.
It's what's on top also that's important.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sounding old school and old.
No, but I agree. Absolutely agree.
I'm
It's
sounding old school and old. You know, I have my daughter, what she listens to horrifies me most. And I guess that's what my parents said to me. So, you know, it's a cycle of life, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
But it's changed. I mean, I mean, you know, pop music before it was like Phil Collins and Tears for Fears and songs were
yeah, the
6 minutes
Beatles,
long with a
even the
guitar solo
Beatles. I
and
mean, you
Beatles. Yeah.
take a song, a Sting song like If I Ever Lose My Faith in
Oh,
You. I remember buying that album and just reading the lyric, and I cried just from the lyric, how beautiful the words were.
yeah,
Now it's all, you know, fuck this and screw your
yeah,
mama.
yeah,
It's like, what the hell is this? Why are we so stupid?
yeah.
Why is humanity getting stupider and stupider? I stand for brains and smart people, you know, and they don't, you know, whatever powers that be don't want smart people around. And for whatever reason, their ultimate aim, I don't know. But I stand for intelligence and pushing the, you know, raising the
The
bar.
boundaries. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway, next
Anyway.
question.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's like I talked to a friend of mine who's a producer, and he said like, you know, it's a whole science behind it. They know the song has to be like, you know, between 88 and 92 in key of G. It has to be within the range. But yeah, I'm like, shit, man. But that's like you're working in a mine, you know, in a music mine. But except you're like using
Yeah,
click with
yeah,
a
it's
mouse.
formula. All
Yeah, it's
formulas. Check this box. Check. It's the same with movies. They
yeah,
have to
yeah,
be 90
oh,
minutes, and you know, this has to happen by this point. That has to happen by that point.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
formulas don't are not creative. They're
absolutely. Yeah,
squeezing everybody into a formula, which, well, you know, it has its use, I suppose. It's like a template.
yeah,
When I'm offered templates when I'm doing graphics, I never use them. I say, I want to start with
from scratch.
my,
Yeah,
whatever it happens to be. If I want to put a box over here and something over, you know,
yeah,
templates are, everything is convenience based these days. Everything's
yeah,
got
yeah,
to be
absolutely,
convenient, convenient, convenient.
absolutely.
Whereas to me, it's more of a hindrance than a convenience
Yeah.
because it gets in the way of my creativity. My daughter is a brilliant young artist. She's amazing, and you should look it up. Luna's Art
Okay,
with a
I'll check it
Z. Luna's Art on Instagram. We never gave her a coloring book. I never wanted her to go inside those lines. We always gave her blank paper. There you go. Create, you know. I don't care if it's a squiggle or whatever it is, but you be free. This is a blank slate.
out.
And that's how I feel about music. When I sit to write, it could be anything, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the freedom that I enjoy as an artist, as a musician. No limits. You know, it's really hard to even categorize my music.
Mm.
People lump things into jazz because they can't figure out any other name to give it. It's like if you don't know what it is, it's jazz or contemporary something or other or
Yeah,
whatever. I
fusion.
hate categories
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
that's another box that I don't want to be in. If I want to write a pop tune, I'll write a pop tune. If I want to write a crazy heavy fusion song, I will.
Yeah,
If I want to write somewhere in between, like a Steely Dan vibe with nice changes, I'll do that.
sure. Yeah,
Whatever I feel like. It's
yeah,
open season. We
yeah.
should never feel like we're in, we have to be 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. I remember Grateful Dead. I used to love the Grateful Dead.
Oh,
They were,
really? Oh, wow.
and even Jerry Garcia was a fan of mine. He heard my second album and nearly drove off the road, he said.
Really? Oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah, and I went to a Grateful Dead concert too, which at the time they were the biggest grossing live act in America, filling stadiums. I mean, they were massive. But when I was younger, listening to their music, there was a song called Dark Star. And I had a live album of theirs. The Dark Star went all the way to the end of the record. You flip it over and it continued. It was a jam, but it had bits where it was so fun to listen to. It just went everywhere. It took you on a journey. Unless you just like going from here to your local store every day and back and forth and back, that's the journey you get from pop music.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You're not getting to go to foreign countries or, by the seaside or up on the top of a mountain and looking over great vistas. That's the difference. That's the best analogy I can
That's a
make
nice
is,
analogy. Yeah.
you're going back and forward to the same shop every day, back and forth. Whoopee.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Uh,
Well, you're a very agreeable fellow, aren't you?
no, I agree. But it's like I don't want to rant about that. So, but but
What's your instrument? What do you
I play
play?
guitar as well. So
All right. Me too, a
yeah,
little bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah,
On a good day.
yeah, yeah. I think you're quite good. Yeah, quite okay. I mean, no, no.
I put my time in.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask you about going back a bit about your sound. I listen to so many of guys of your generation, and I think about Scott Henderson and you, and like so many of you guys, you created immediately your sounds, which is nowadays
Style, you mean, or sound?
like
Oh, I guess it's a combination.
phrasing and everything. Like when I listen to you, it's like Frank. Oh, it's Scott. It's
Yeah,
it's
you know
how
who it is right away.
yeah, like three seconds. It's like, oh shit, there you go. And
Uh-huh.
how did you? What was your story and road there, like achieving that?
Well, that's really hard to achieve, but it takes conscious effort.
Hmm.
Like, for example, the last thing I wanted anybody to say to me was, oh, you sound like, you know, Pat Metheny, or you sound like Schofield. We already have a Schofield. We already have a Pat Metheny. We don't need another one. Unless you just want to emulate, you love them so much and you want to emulate them. And a lot of people will love you for it. Look at all the groups that do, copy bands. What do they call them?
Oh yeah, cover bands. Yeah,
Tribute bands.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's one in Holland called ABCD. It's brilliant. They're a copy of AC/DC. They called ABCD, and they have the same lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Ah, I never wanted to be one of those. I never wanted someone to say, "Oh, you sound just like." Well, the way to avoid that, really, in my thoughts, is you've got to have your own ideas, obviously. When I was studying or learning guitar and copying solos and transcribing songs, I was transcribing a lot of Chick Corea, a lot of Michael
Mm.
Brecker onto the guitar. And, you just have to not just copy one person heavily, because then you really will end up sounding a lot like them, whether you like it or not. So to me, the way to get around that was to find, have 10 great influences, and then you become this unique entity
Yeah.
after putting all that lot together, So that's one way to do it. Plus, I'd be transcribing a Michael Brecker lick, for example, and it was just a short phrase, and I went, man, that's completely brilliant. I would never have thought of that in a million years. And then I start to mash my own ideas around it, incorporating that idea, and come up with 10 lines myself based off of that inspiration. So it was inspirational, but to trigger my own ideas based off something I would never have thought of on my own. And then those kind of things, they have to be the spark. And then you take it in your own direction and you follow your own muse.
Yeah.
Right?
So was it mostly horn players for you?
Huh?
Was it mostly horn players, or did you also touch guitarists?
No, it was keyboards. In the early days, it was guitar players. Yeah. The first 10 years were blues. Because that's where I was at. I was a young kid. I didn't know if there was anything more than blues, and the same pentatonic licks that everybody still plays and everybody still thinks is the greatest thing ever now. Yeah. I mean, how many times? There's a new guy now. Listen to him. He's brilliant. New?
The same phrase.
I go, new? What? Not to me. He's not new. But if you're a young kid and you never heard 7,500 blues players that came before, it's new. Sorry. This happened to my brother, Nunzio, my older brother. He had 3 boys. And he had this 14-year-old boy who was, my brother said, go into your room and clean that room. It's a terrible mess. It's a disaster. Go in there. So the kid gets the vacuum cleaner and goes into the room. He starts vacuuming. And he puts on this music really loud, like pissed off at his dad. And my brother goes in there and stops for a couple of seconds and then starts singing along. And the kid looks at him and says, what? How on earth do you know this song? Well, it was something that was recorded, in the 60s. And my brother said, this is just a remake where, you just don't know. And then he turns it off and he didn't listen to it again. Because I can't listen to anything my parents like, No, it's funny. Yeah. I don't know how I got onto that, but
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's history. So for me, blues was the first thing, and then I discovered other bands that had more harmony. I wanted to learn more harmony. 10 years of blues was a great foundation. You get the feel and the soul that you need to play guitar effectively. I think you need that soul.
Yeah.
And then, I discovered Police, for example, blew my socks off. I thought, this is the coolest pop music I ever heard.
Yeah.
And then, Steely Dan were a big influence. Earth, Wind and Fire. They were so hip harmonically. Where is that now? That really bothers me that stuff's not around anymore, like it was. Bands like that. And then I discovered Chick and the Brecker Brothers, and my taste became more and more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And you can't have that as a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old when you're, or a 7-year-old when you started. You start with the blues and Hendrix. That's where you start. But I didn't stop there.
Yeah.
I kept going.
Yeah. You mentioned Chick, like you listened to him, and then obviously you became part of
36 years I worked with him on and off.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, how was that Chick calling you, and you're like, probably a fan still, and then you made like one of the most influential fusion records there are. I mean, how was that for you? Remember the call, or like?
Well, yeah, it was an audition like anything else. I went in and auditioned. There were only 4 people doing a live audition. And I think I was the second guy. And I knew immediately that Chick had decided after hearing me, because he must have heard as much of his licks coming back at him from guitar. I think there weren't many guys playing sort of quartal harmony. I love fourths.
Yeah.
the open sound of fourths, and they sort of sound almost like robot music. You know, that whenever you see sci-fi with robots, it's always fourths and random random fourths.
It's open.
So I'm that's a big part of what I do. You know, I love that interval and stacks of them.
Yeah.
And you know, not many guitar players do that. They don't really do it. And plus, you know, he heard my technique for the first time, and you know, it was still fresh to people in the world everywhere. And so he was just, I could tell he went, mm-hmm, got it. You know, it only took one song. He jumped up off the keyboard, shook my hand, and he said, "Your amp will be pointing across the stage, sort of at an angle." And I'm thinking, really? Already? One song? Brilliant.
No,
We played another two or three things, but I knew his mind was made up. I
that's
could
beautiful.
tell. So it was a beautiful thing. I was made to play for Chick Corea. I really was. As a guitar player, you know, I discovered his music at 13 and was completely in love with his playing. I mean, he's one of the greatest improvisers ever lived and one of the greatest composers. And you know, he's the third highest Grammy winner of all time.
Really, I didn't know that.
Think about that for a
Oh,
second. Like
yeah.
28 Grammys, something like that, and some 40 nominations. Insane.
Yeah, one of the most influential guys. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you know, Mozart. To
Oh
me,
yeah.
he's Mozart
Yeah.
now, or was. God bless him. What a great man.
Yeah.
And to have spent that many years playing his music and knowing him as a person, you know, you can imagine the influence on me. And I would often pinch myself, you know, going, that's him. The thing that used to blow me away about Chick, you know, as an improviser, and I'm mostly a jazz musician, you know, fusion, jazz, whatever you want to call it. I'm a musician that appreciates soloing because I think soloing is the ultimate freedom and the highest thing level. If you see the brain activity of a jazz musician improvising over changes, it's like Fourth of July. It's like New Year's Eve fireworks.
Yeah.
It really is
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to anything else. It's well documented. So the thing that got me about Chick was, you know, people would come to the show and they'd see one show and they go, "Oh, wow, amazing!" And I'd hear him play and I'd go, "This guy's amazing." And then I would hear him the next night and the next night and the next night, and it was never the same. I mean, we have our bag of tricks. We fall into our traps that, oh, not that lick again. I'm not going to play that. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
The essence of the word improvisation means to have no preconceived idea of what you're going to play. And that was him completely. He had such facility that it never was the same thing twice in the whole time I worked with him. And that's quite extraordinary, really. You know,
Yeah.
that there's a kind of a depth that is almost inhuman, almost alien, you know. So that's
Yeah.
an important thing to remember. His level of improvisation was bottomless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that pushed you as well, right?
It
On
sure
tours,
did.
like three
Oh my God.
3 week tours. I mean, and then you're like,
If you had to solo after him, what do you think?
yeah, I'd be like, you know,
Are you going to dig deep? You have to. There's really no, he would push us to the highest level of our abilities and would continue to push us there, you know, like a friend who really is supportive and wants you to dig and go deep. And it's all about the music and it's art and it's the highest level. And you push and you play at the extreme. There's no low. You don't
yeah.
you know, skate along. No, there was none of that. It was always 100%, 150%
Yeah.
effort to dig and go somewhere you hadn't gone before.
Yeah. And
It's
he had a young
incredible.
band, right? With you guys, you were like
Well, yeah, we were the young titans, and he was
back then. Yeah.
the guru, you know.
Amazing. Wow.
And that's
That's a,
why he loved the band. You know, he loved
yeah.
our energy because we all loved him. Everybody in that band loved him. and we honored his musicality and as a human being. And that's really important. You know, you have to really love the work and the music you're making. You know, it's important. You know, this is his compositions, every
Yeah.
one of them. There was never a piece of fluff anywhere. Everything had pure genius in it. And to our delight, we get to be the first to see it. And so I try to do this in my own compositions too. I try and always write something I've never heard before.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to do. I'm always digging. Sometimes there was a song on my last record called Love Is Always the Answer. And it's a vocal song, but it had an instrumental break in the middle of it. And I must have written, I loved the A and B parts were perfect, but I was looking for a C part. And I must have written 30 different times on that same. And I kept rejecting and rejecting because it wasn't going somewhere fresh. And it took a long, it was sometimes songs just come right out, you know, they just roll right out and they're almost complete like they're coming through you. But others are a real challenge
Yeah.
to reach the standard that you're trying to deliver, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you ever talk? I mean, I listened, you know, you wrote so much music. Like, I listened to, I think your second album yesterday. There's, you know, Lazy Passion and
Oh, yeah.
Resident
That's nice.
Alien, all those tunes, you know. Did you ever talk about Chick also about composition, or like did that he influence you like the way you wrote, or
Well, I transcribed a lot of his
yeah,
music, so yes, there's definitely influence.
somewhere, yeah,
Oh God, yeah. Listen to a tune I did 3 albums with Steve Smith and Stu Ham, heavy
yeah,
fusion records,
yeah, I know those.
and the album called The Light Beyond
Yeah,
has a tune called The Throne of Savitar that I wrote, and then listen to that, and then listen to Hymn of the Seventh Galaxy.
yeah,
You know, there's similarities, you know, and I go, because I was channeling when I wrote that song. What do I want this song to feel like or sound like? And, you
mm,
know, sure, I'll channel or be inspired by certain tunes, yes.
yeah.
But yeah, you know, what used to amaze me about him was he was able to write a whole album in a week.
That's
You know,
insane.
I remember doing the Inside Out record, and we would be rehearsing and playing a song and recording it one day up until about 8 p.m. And then he would go write the tune for the next day, you know, and that was the cycle. And they weren't fluff. He wasn't just throwing anything in there. All of them, you know, I don't know how his composition skills were just magic, really. He was
Mm,
able to just deliver endless music, just and always interesting.
yeah,
You know, that's hard to do.
he was reinventing himself all the time, man. It's like insane.
Just yeah, just amazing. He was inspirational to me, and so you know, I haven't made nearly as many records as he did, and I never will. But every record I make, I want it to be special, and I want it to be interesting, enjoyable, and pleasant to listen to, and groove,
Yeah,
and whatever it needs to be. But I want it to always be at least something that people haven't heard before,
yeah,
whether it's harmonically speaking. See that the subtlety of harmony is kind of, you know, certainly lost in pop music. You know, it doesn't. Three chords don't have to be dumb.
oh, absolutely.
There's a police song called "When the World Is Running Down, You Make the Best of What's Still
Yeah,
Around."
yeah,
It's
sure.
three incredible chords, and it's only 3 chords, but it's not the same old D, G, C, stupid. You know, how many more songs do we need to hear like that? So the public is not stupid. They 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 can accept any harmony. Look at Stevie Wonder.
Oh
His
man,
songs are just flipping brilliant jazz. As far as I'm concerned, it's all jazz harmony, but his melodies are so powerful. And you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire too. There's a lot of jazz going on there too, and it's
yeah,
funky as all hell. And people groove and dance. They can't control themselves, you know.
yeah, yeah. And
So
rhythms, you know, Stink
yeah,
in 7/5, and Peter
yeah.
Gabriel,
Well,
Salisbury Hill, it's in 7, and you see people just like dancing, and it's like,
Or trying to.
yeah, trying to like, where's
Hey,
the
wait a
one?
minute.
Yeah,
Wait, yeah, where's one?
yeah,
Yeah, well, those work because they're always quarter pulse.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
a quarter pulse. It
exactly.
doesn't matter how many you do,
I love that.
It's
Yeah,
it always sounds lumpy, odd meter if it's eighth note pulse.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause then it always goes,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
The quarter note pulse, it could be any number you want it to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Frank, I wanted to ask you one thing. Speaking of guitarists, you know, what was your story with Allan Holdsworth and him being, you know, talking about voices? He was an
Well,
alien, resident alien.
yeah,
But,
definitely, I have to agree with you. What a unique man. What a unique musician. An unsung hero. I mean, he was respected. I always told him, I even wrote to him many times saying how much I thought he was a genius. And I don't give a shit what the world says or understands. Take it from one of your peers. You're a flippin' genius and you're just amazing. You've created a whole style that has been
yeah,
so copied. You were the trailblazer. Trailblazer. It's always harder to lead than follow, and he was definitely a leader in his field. They, People like that are rare,
yeah,
rare in this earth. And every opportunity I got, I would tell him how much I appreciated what he had done for guitar and music. We had a friendship. The first electric band tour I did, it was a quartet, and his band opened for us right
oh,
throughout the
really?
U.S. So,
Oh,
so he would come off the stage every night and say, "I'm sorry you had to hear that." He was the most self-deprecating person
yeah,
I
yeah,
ever met. He was so down on himself. He thought because he couldn't read music, that he was less than. It's the stupidest thing ever. And after a while, we'd always say, "Man, that was amazing." We'd be off the side of the stage going, "That's incredible." And he would go, he'd walk off the stage like this, head down. It was horrible. And after a while, we started to agree with him. We go, "Oh man," we'd be holding our noses as he came off the stage. And then he started to laugh and loosen up. He was
yeah,
very English. I'm Australian, so I could relate to the humor, you know.
yeah,
We did that record, Truth in
yeah,
Shredding.
yeah. That's why. Yeah, that's
Mark Varney was a huge fan of Alan and a huge fan of mine, and his big dream was to put us together, which was, at first I went, I can't be on the same record with him. That guy is like, whoa, forget it. Anyway, he asked me to produce it, so I chose the songs. A lot of them were Brecker tunes and my favorite jazz tunes. There was one original composition. But the thing I when I first heard Holdsworth, I heard him on Jean-Luc Ponty's album called Enigmatic Ocean.
ocean. Yeah,
And that first track where Alan comes in with his tone and the notes, and it was just like the most refreshing guitar I ever heard in my life. I'd never heard anything like it. And I had no idea how he played. I couldn't figure it out at all. So I gave up trying. I never even tried to play like Alan. A lot of people kind of copied his style,
yeah,
but I had no idea as a kid. What the hell? It was 74, I think, in Enigmatic Ocean, or 76, something like that. I was
yeah,
16.
yeah,
So I always, when I heard him play his own music, it was very esoteric and, a lot of chords, chord, 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 chord. It's like, ugh, it's exhausting.
yeah,
Brilliant, but exhausting, even for someone who can understand the depth of what he's doing. And the chords he plays were
yeah. It's insane.
insane.
Yeah,
Just, and so, but I always wanted to hear him again, like that Jean-Luc Ponty record, on chords that were simpler, with a bit more space, like a couple of bars of each chord. And so I chose those kind of songs. And the funny thing in that contract for Truth in Shredding, Mark Varney was such a guitar freak that he said each solo has to be 2 minutes long from each of you in each song. I mean, where do you find a contract like that these days? That
I
doesn't.
love it.
Each solo has to. I had to time the choruses so that there was enough choruses going around. And so there's a lot of guitar on those records. But, to hear Allan playing over what I call, standard chord progressions was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so I did my best. Allan was not able to record with us. I recorded live with the band.
Ah, okay.
He added his parts later in his own studio, in his own time, because I knew that that would be the best approach for him. If he had to do it live, he wouldn't have been happy. And I
Yeah, yeah,
just know his character. And so that's how it happened.
yeah.
And I remember we mixed the album together in the studio. And I mean, literally, he was 1 foot away from me, and I'd watch him play, and I still couldn't figure out what he was doing. Even this close, I'm going, what do you do? I just don't. And he didn't know what I was doing either. So it kind of, I said, what are you doing? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, what are you doing? One hand,
Yeah.
He was brilliant, and I'm really glad I got to know him as a person and have that one album documented together. It was
Oh
quite an
man,
honor and a pleasure to have done that with him.
it's one of the best guitar records out there, like in this genre. Really, it's so much under
Yeah.
the radar. I listened to this tune Rocks today in the morning. I was making breakfast, and
Oh yeah,
man, first it's your solo, and it's like it's just going up, and then Alan comes in, and you're like, what?
oh
The
yeah.
lines like he plays. I just stopped it and like rewind. Like what was
Wait a minute,
you
what
know
planet are you coming from?
exactly? It's insane. It's just
I know he
both you
plays a
guys
lot
like
more out than me. I like to
that's
play
fantastic. Yeah,
inside. I like to play the changes, and be clear and try to be interesting in that,
yeah.
and sometimes play a little outside. But and then Alan, whew, man, he plays notes that I would never dream of in a million
Yeah,
years.
everything is augmented and diminished, and it's actually cool.
I don't know how he thinks at all,
Yeah, yeah,
or what's going on in his ears.
yeah,
Yeah. No, there
yeah,
you are. Yeah, that's a great record. Not everybody knows it, but it's a
yeah, yeah. People should know it. Also, that the
uh,
other one with Sean Lane. I mean, Sean again, another one of those.
yeah, freak of nature. Yeah, for
Man,
sure.
it's yeah. People
Yeah,
should check.
gone too soon. He was gone way too soon. Yeah, I only met him once. Super nice guy,
Mm,
sweet talker. Just real soft spoken, really nice gentleman.
yeah. Also, a unique sound. You hear a couple of
Oh
lines, and
yeah,
again, you're like Sean Lane. It's
yeah, exactly. It's
so
hard to develop your own sound, but
yeah,
it's you know, if you want to be an artist, you kind of have to have something that's unique. Otherwise, you just
absolutely.
blend in with everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Frank, not to take too much of your time, I just wanted then to ask you, like, what's still in the schedule for you for the upcoming months, or where are you gonna go? All over the place, I guess, and still some
Yeah,
sideman project, I guess, or
well, I just do what I do. I wouldn't say I'm semi-retired, but I'm kind of slowing down because I want to enjoy my family and my home. We live in Spain now. It's my dream home. Um, I'll always continue. I want to really develop my YouTube channel more.
yeah,
I'm really focusing on that and being more intimate with my fans, talking more. There's a lot of playing stuff on my videos, on my YouTube videos, and people want to hear me talk too, which I'm finding to be quite cool. So I don't mind doing more of that and getting my YouTube channel to my goal is 1 million subscribers. You
Ooh,
know,
yeah,
I
always
know.
set the bar high. Yeah,
If you reach high, at least if you get halfway, you're doing pretty good.
yeah,
Uh, but and to continue offering courses on my online school, I love to have again the freedom to create courses that are unique. Um, when I was head of the LA Music Academy in Los Angeles, it was a private school. And I wrote the curriculum for that school. And, you know, we'd go a year and the director or the administration would say, look, the students are complaining that it's too hard. But really, that's because they're so flippin' lazy, they don't do the work. It's not the course's problem, it's the, you know. And so they said, can you make it a little bit easier? And I went, okay. So I instead of a 2-year course, it became, no, instead of a 1-year course, it became a 2-year course, same material. So they had more time. And then after that, they came to me again and said, look, the students are complaining it's too hard. I went, okay, you don't need me. You need anybody to teach basic music. You don't need me. This is ridiculous. So I took my curriculum, a lot of it of which became courses on my online school. I don't want to dumb things down. If you're going to be a surgeon, you're going to go, oh, I don't really feel like blood and cutting. You know, come on. There is a certain standard that you gotta have, you know, if you want to progress. If you just want to play, you know, 3-chord and blues licks, you can learn that even without studying. You can just pick up a guitar and do it. But if you do have the desire to go further, you've got to push yourself. There's no magic pill you can take. You can't ask AI, make me a better player. Doesn't work. You know, you have to put the time in. And, you know, in an age of instant gratification, that's getting harder for people to devote the time. They'd rather press a button than put the time in. But the joy of making music and art is one of the greatest joys, really.
Yeah.
At whatever level, you know, just the desire to make music and the union, how it brings people together. It's a beautiful thing. So
there is hope still.
yeah, well, I'm not going to lower the bar. Just, you know, I refuse to.
Absolutely.
You know, people want to study my courses because they're serious. They're going to come to my school, and I call it for the discerning musician, someone who knows, okay, if I get through this, my level is going to be higher, and that's what I want to achieve out there for those who desire to get better as a musician.
Yeah.
And so there's lots more concerts, touring. I have a new agency now that I'm very happy with, and there's going to be a lot more shows. Yeah, and a new album soon.
Yeah, it will be good to see you on the road. I mean, you know, I love that.
Where are you exactly?
I'm in Slovenia.
Slovenia. Oh, I don't get there very often, but
No.
I'll try.
I don't know if you've ever played here. Like
I have with Chick. We played a huge stadium there. Yeah.
Really?
Is Skopje the
Oh,
capital?
Skopje is Macedonia. For Yugoslavia. Slovenia was part of
What's the capital there?
Ljubljana.
Ljubljana. Well, I have played in Ljubljana. I did clinics there years ago, but I haven't. You're right. I haven't been there. Yeah, I was there in the 90s. I mean,
oh wow, okay.
You weren't born then.
Oh yeah, I was 78. I was.
Okay, you were around, but yeah.
Yeah. I didn't follow yet that music.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, you weren't there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, super. Well, or in Austria, I saw you years ago with Chick in Graz with Rick and Dave and Eric. So hopefully I'll catch you somewhere there. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll try and get around all of Europe because I love Europe and I love the European market.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing some stuff in Bahrain and the Middle East too later in the year. It'll be fun.
Interesting.
And probably Australia again. There's a great club there in Melbourne that I get to play quite often. So.
You still go sometimes there, right? To play in
my home.
Yeah.
My family, a lot of my family members are still there, so I do usually take an extra week and stay and go see everybody.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
You know how it is. Family's important.
Absolutely. Cool.
All right.
Sir, thanks so much for finding the time. It's okay. I'll leave you a nice morning so that you...
Yes. I can go wake up properly with a much bigger coffee.
Absolutely. Cool.
Nice talking to you.
I wish you all the best, Frank, and hopefully see you down the
Samo. road
somewhere. Cool.
Thank you, Samo.
You
See
too.
you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.